So I guess the big question to explore is, what conversations do you think, we can step into, or what will move us through in terms of a more natural way of well-being as a society, as as a planet? Or...
Well, I think permaculture explains or shows or demonstrates that independence and living an autonomous life is still a very interdependent process. So I think what we need to do is understand how to more rely on each other as neighbors and families and friends, rather than on the state, and I say that as a former civil servant, or on big corporations, and I say that with all respect, because certainly at the moment, in the times of the pandemic, haven't we just noticed how helpful it was if you had a friend who either could go to the supermarket for you, or even better, had a field and was able to help you out with a few tomatoes and lettuce, or if the water runs dry in your area, how helpful it is if somebody can show you how to collect rainwater, or will let you collect some water from their well, and then you might be able to show them another skill. So being autonomous and independent still includes a lot of interdependence, and so I think people should ask themselves where they're putting the responsibility for their well-being. Are they acting on their own behalf, or are they being like children and expecting the state or the authority or the corporation to look after them? There's a brilliant film I can recommend to your viewers and listeners. It's very simple and fun. It's nothing highbrow, but it's very effective in its message. It's called 2040. It's by this Australian guy called Damien Gameau. It's called 2040 because he has a young girl who in 2020 is 4 years old. And he, as a very responsible person who's extremely aware of all the ecological disasters that are looming large on the horizon, is trying to imagine what world his daughter in 2040, when she's in her early 20s, will be living in. And so he travels around the world and takes the camera with him to show us a couple of already existing beautiful initiatives that, if they were expanded to the whole world, would pretty much solve all the problems we have. So there's tiny little solar panels in a village in Bangladesh that get tied up to the neighbors' solar panels and create this link that really improves the conditions in the village without having to resort to receiving electricity from the big corporation. And then there's the algae farm started by Brian van Hertzen, who has noticed that if you do a kelp farm, then kelp is really nutritious. It provides shelter for fish. It filters the water, and it actually draws carbon out of the atmosphere much better than a tree can, and all sorts of other methods like that that already exist. And that if we were free and enterprising enough, and if there were no interference from the few people who will not benefit from us not paying their bills anymore, then if we did all this on a global scale, all our problems would go away really quickly. All the solutions already exist. It's just a matter of trying to get beyond the few factors that are impeding us from implementing them. Citizens, especially people who have children, should really read things like Permaculture Magazine, which is a brilliant British magazine with lots of really interesting articles about how you can do things yourself, how this has been done before, excellent readings like this, or the readings of Satish Kumar about being an earth pilgrim, or all these people that you quote and invite into your podcasts. There's lots of solution out there. There's really no excuse. Get in touch with a group of mature citizens around you, and start implementing changes at the local level. Do a beach cleanup. Learn how to grow herbs on your windowsill. Start collecting rainwater. Teach your children some survival skills. All sorts of things you can do put your compost in a tub with a worm farm, you know, and there's so much to be done, and that's already available. So, you know, be an informed citizen and be part of the change that's coming.